Hi, this is Mark Mitchell from Wizard Strategy. Glad you could join me again. The subject today is about logistics. And that's a big word like that. I kind of go, what does logistics really mean? And so I've been started a few months ago working with a company called GoFor Delivers, in which they do a lot in the building materials industry. So I was very interested to learn more and to boil it down to what's it really mean. And to me, I always like to find things that nobody's thinking about. They're like, okay, they're good enough. Like we deliver products, so do our competitors, where we do as good a job as we can, and that's good enough. So we'll just keep moving on, as opposed to saying, what if we made delivery a competitive advantage? What if maybe it's time to outsource something like we've outsourced so many other things?
Hmm.
And so the more I got involved in this and I learned from the really smart people at GoFor Delivers, I thought, there's a story here that I'd like to share, with people in the building materials industry, whether you're a manufacturer, a distributor, a dealer, a contractor, any of these people, to be thinking about, as we're focusing today on reducing waste and inefficiency, improving productivity, where does delivery fit in there? And there's a Chris Jarvis that works at Delivers is he's chief logistics officer, so he knows all about all this stuff. He probably has maps like NORAD in his office or something, showing where trucks are and stuff. I don't know, but I was really intrigued when I first met him on LinkedIn, and I saw like his great thought leadership content that he's always sharing. That's understandable. It's not like the CEO of FedEx talking to the CEO of UPS or something. It's something the average person can kind of grasp, get a handle around, and say, oh, if I'm a lumber dealer, why is this important to me? And so I asked Chris to join me today and do a little interview in which he could educate us more about just what's going on in this world of logistics. So Chris, thanks a lot for joining us.
Mark, thanks for having me, and thanks for that introduction with my NORAD-like intelligence. It feel like a lot of pressure, but we'll get through this.
Well, good. Well, you've come from, you have quite, will you just give us just a little background about, here's this young, energetic guy that doesn't have a lot of gray hair, and people are going, well, how much could he know? I mean, he's you got to be, 55 years old before you understand trucks and things. I mean, so what's your background? How'd you get to this?
How did I get here? Well,
Yes.
I guess I'm an industrial engineer by training, so if that helps with some of the complexity, we'll leave that to people to draw their own conclusions from that. But I started in retail. I grew up with Loblaws. First job talking about groceries and grocery delivery and how do you get the frozen and the fresh and the dry all the places it needs to go, and not have the bananas spoil en route and things of that nature. And that brought me to, I went from, boxes of peas to boxes of t-shirts and boxes of jeans at Hudson's Bay Company. And really at that one, really focusing more on stores, inventory, getting to stores. How do we replenish stores? How does it go from a DC or a distributor to the store? From there, honestly, reluctantly, I joined DHL. DHL was starting a retail vertical, third-party logistics operations for building and designing warehouses for their big, massive global customers. And I really wasn't too intrigued with, designing warehouses. It just didn't feel, but long story short is I spent a while there, and we grew a really awesome business, and got to, really get a PhD in logistics, so to speak, from the guys that know it better than anyone in the world, I would say. And got to work in a lot of different places with a lot of multinational retailers. So that was exciting, but it took me far and wide, and I needed to be back in Canada, and it's where I'm from, Toronto. And then I joined a smaller company, an entrepreneurial company, Metro Supply Chain Group, really helping a small independent operator become more of a global and more of a contract-based logistics provider. And that's really where I got the entrepreneurial bug. So it all kind of comes together at GoFor for me. It's it's entrepreneurial, it's tech, it's new, it's cutting edge, it's got a lot of retail elements, be it building supplies or retail. It's about the customer. So that's kind of what ignited me in my day one coming out of school is how do you please customers? What is the science, behind why do people buy? What do they need? What are they willing to put up with? How do we make it happen? How do you solve these problems? They're really not always that straightforward, and they kind of sometimes take a little bit of a leap of faith to fully understand and test your theses. But that whole career has really been about logistics and warehousing, entrepreneurialism, kind of coming together for me at GoFor.
Okay, wonderful. What in the I'm just going to say delivery is not the in today's world in building materials we are suffering we were suffering labor shortages, and now we're suffering material shortages, and so lead times are getting longer, and yet we're trying to be more productive. Like I don't want I don't want labor sitting on a job site without materials that they can go to work, and I don't want to be sending an expensive installer over to a store to pick up something that I forgot or misordered or whatever. Um, if we just stay in the broader context of logistics and delivery, what over the last few years, what have been the changes from your perspective that you see that's happened?
Well, I think you put out you call out some good points, right? At the end of the day, the entire supply chain comes down to one moment. I need the materials. I need this installer. I need the job site prepared. And so, what I see happening is really in those complex situations, the reliance on technology is becoming more and more evident. Not only for efficiencies, but for predictability and visibility and communication, right? We talk a lot about all these wonderful systems, and at the end of the day, what do they really do? They help me communicate. They help me to tell me exactly where Mark is, where he's moved, when I have to be there. It helps me with timing, and it helps to take out some of the complexity. Um, Customer expectations along with technology continue to go up. They never seem to go down. If you can do it in one day today, then I want it in half a day tomorrow. And then if you get to a half a day, I want it in 2 hours. And so customer expectations and the quality of our execution continues to move forward. Really, we see a lot of B2B type business situations that you're describing, trying to now replicate what's possible in B2C environments. So why can they do it, but we can't? And so I think there's a real push for, in the last few years, to challenge that status quo. If Amazon can do these things in 2 hours, then why can't we run our business at that speed? Really challenging the norms, and people more than ever just saying, I want it now. I'm not willing to wait. These are the decisions and what needs to happen, and I'm expecting you to have the tools, the technologies to help me navigate these complexities.
Yeah, so it's so how to just help myself and listeners understand
Mhm.
just how does companies like Amazon and FedEx do what they do? I mean, they don't go and buy 1,000 extra trucks for the Christmas season, I don't think, and find 1,000 extra drivers or something appear out of nowhere. I mean, how do they seemingly almost not drop off, or and then so how do they do that magic?
It's a great question. I don't know. At the end of the day, it sometimes does feel like magic, but they have things that help them too. Surge pricing is one of them. Calling on vendors like GoFor is one of them. So I think there's a lot of things behind the scenes that allow them to traverse, these huge surges of volume, but maintain a reasonable quality. And for us at GoFor, I think it's really how do we disrupt that? How do we actually make what they do even better? Um,
Yes.
they
And
have they have a lot of trucks, and then they rely on people like us to support them at certain times of the year to for the customer to perceive that it is FedEx. they have a lot of partners, and we're proud to be one of them. And I think behind the scenes, at the end of the day, you only ever have as many assets as you have. So you can build the church for Easter Sunday. It's a really big church. It's really costly. In most days you won't need half of the seats in the place. So that's a decision, right? Most people don't make that decision. They have to go back to the 80 percentile. They have to then think about, how am I going to get through spring season and the surge that my customers are expecting from me. And that's where, you've got to really start to, leverage what's at your disposal. And so for us, we're lucky. A lot of that comes down to some technology that helps us do some of the lifting, our ability to scale and find owner operators who can support our business. How can we bring people into our network? How can we shift from one customer to another? So one may be really spring, that is our time, and another one, no, it's more fall, when we're fall orientated. And so we can have this owner operators that are not busy with spring and fall. They're busy when they need to be busy, and we maintain a more steady approach to keeping them productive. So I think part of the answer, at least for us, and part of the answer for some of our friendly competitors, would be working through multiple verticals and through multiple different B2B merchants allows us the ability to trade off some of these peak seasons and keep a workforce that's available and ready for whoever might need it.
Yes, well, and the other thing to me, if I say this correctly, but I was at first I thought, oh, okay, what would you have some people with some box vans and some stake trucks or pickups or something, and I was amazed to see that you have operators with trucks with booms that can deliver roofing or drywall. And I was pretty amazed to see the also not only the quantity of trucks and drivers that you can bring forth, but the variety to meet different needs and your people's ability. And they know how to go to a job site. They know what a job site is. They know how to act on a job site. Those are really important things in the building materials industry. And that amazed me how, you're able to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider when you're in the building materials business. I mean, safety is paramount. To your point, experience, drivers, the range of equipment, the safe handling of heavy loads, the certifications in some instances, right? Manipulating a boom truck or even a Moffett, it doesn't come without practice, and it doesn't come without an understanding of the work environment and the safety, the local knowledge. What is happening when you can't find the address, right? It's a new development. There is no address. Systems don't really work well when you're navigating a driver through GPS and there is no address. But luckily at GoFor, we've seen this a few times, and so we have ways of helping our drivers do those things. And at the end of it, customer service and relationships built on trust is the foundation of a good delivery. And that's all important stuff. So you have to have that, and then you have to have the nuts and bolts. So small, medium, and large, we like to say. And then we've got specialty vehicles. And so matching the right equipment to the right job at a very fast pace. This is where it gets, this is the secret sauce. This is where we play every day. So there's a certain driver, there's a certain relationship that makes it all work, and a knowledge base and a safety and experience. And then it's like, okay, but I need this flatbed because I need to move these pallets in this way to that job site. And that's really where our platform, we call it a marketplace. Our marketplace has long-reaching tentacles. We have relationships with a lot of fleet operators, a lot of owner operators. And so when we, luckily enough, we've gotten to the size now where we need something, people come and they're available. And through technology, they're able to turn on their phone, fire up our application, and we can count on them to respond. And then, in the center, we can monitor and govern them as they do their work. We can give them special notes. We can say, look, you need to speak to Bob. He's the foreman. When you go here, don't do this. Go to door number 34. You're looking for this to happen. And so we can prepare them even in examples where they haven't been on those sites, but through experience, through training, we can make that possible, which I know for some instances, and trust me, I've been at GoFor about a year and 2 months, and you think, how is that possible? How can all of these things come together and represent quality? It's kind of hard to imagine. We don't like the term crowdsourcing, but it feels a lot like crowdsourcing. It's a non-asset based model. It's centered by, an extreme amount of high tech technology that allows it to all work. But it's a leap of faith at some level to trust and participate and understand how can it work. And a lot of it's got to do with how you find the right driver, right? You have to understand, when you buy a flatbed truck and you buy a boom truck, or you buy even a 5-ton truck, you don't buy that to take the kids to soccer, right? You buy that for industrial work, right? And so there's a level of experience or intention, at least at the very minimum, an intention to do industrial kind of work with that vehicle. And so we really have great partnerships with a lot of these drivers, and they come well prepared. They understand, they have an experience behind them. What we're leveraging is the independent entrepreneur in that situation. So most big brands and most big companies, require that they partner with, established transportation companies, that, there'll be a 3 or 5 year contract that must be in place, and they must have their own trucks, and they must have certain uniforms and all these requirements that make them feel safe and secure. And it's kind of the way it's always been. We're unpacking that to say, yeah, but if I know a guy who's invested in a vehicle like this and he comes to work for me, he's really resting on his reputation as well. And what he does today will count against him going tomorrow. And so there's actually a very engaged driver. He wants to perform. He wants to perform well. He's representing himself, not some other brand, not JB Hunt or Canada Cartage or whoever. I want to do a really great job today, Mark, because I want to come back tomorrow and do more for you, because it allows me the freedom of choice and it allows me to run my own businesses, and there's benefits for him. And, we really respect that willingness and energy level coming into our platform. So our job is to make them successful.
Yeah.
Our job is to embrace that. And that's a new environment, right? I mean, this is very, it's very different than anything that's been possible in the past. And so we're really removing some of these middlemen and some of these control situations and allowing people to be successful in their own merits, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah. And one of the things I wanted to go back to was the building materials industry tends to be like 10 years behind the rest of the world. And so along came websites, and consumer companies saw early what a website could be, and building material companies simply saw it as a place to have a catalog online that you couldn't order from, that didn't answer every question you'd have. It just was, instead of printing a catalog, you go online, and that's how they saw it for a long time. And you started to see professional customers, contractors, builders, and architects, and so forth, saying, why can I go online and I can design a car? I can change the colors, the wheels, the engine, all of the things. I can play with it all day long. I can be told, oh, there's one of those 10 miles away if you'd like to drive it tomorrow. And here's the lease price, and here's the purchase price. Here's the miles per gallon. Everything literally I could think of, I can find out on the website while I'm sitting at home. Mm-hmm. And so slowly the building materials industry came along and said, well, maybe we need to look at this differently. Maybe this is an interactive tool. It's not just a way of putting our catalog online. And so some of them are pretty far down the curve. Some other ones are still back, just trying to reinvent the catalog. And I think about the next thing that's happened in our personal life to me when it comes to logistics in all of this is is whoever's doing the best job sets the bar. So
Mhm.
right now, for example, to me, I think about if I orders with COVID, we're ordering so many more things online, whether it's from Amazon or another supplier. Um,
Yeah.
but more often than not, it seems like it's FedEx is going to be delivering it, and I've got literally as much communication from FedEx as I want about what's happening. And the same thing with Amazon, where my order's acknowledged, it's shipped, it's on its way, it's going to arrive at 3 p.m. tomorrow, and they
Yeah.
keep just raising the bar. Like as you mentioned, uh, raising expectations. I used to order something on Amazon and it would be like free 2-day shipping or something. And then all of a sudden it's like, it'll be there tomorrow. Yesterday, I ordered something and it said, I think it was some cartridges for my inkjet printer or something. And it was
Mhm.
like, if you order in the next 2 hours, we'll have it there in 2 hours. And I'm like, it didn't say for 50 cents more. It didn't
Yeah.
say this. It just, no, it just keeps coming at you. And so I think that we're all um, taking that B2C experience that we have, and we're saying, why can't my business operate this way? And
Absolutely.
in terms of let me just the biggest word I think is in today is people want, sure, they want things faster, but what they really want is certainty. Like they want to know, okay, even if it can't be there till Wednesday, it will be there Wednesday.
Mhm.
At least in the construction industry, and so that would be a big step. And then the ability, of course, to deliver it sooner, faster, uh, and just have that be a matter of how you do business. It just seems like what a competitive advantage that would be, um, where I find most companies go, well, we deliver, we sell flooring, we deliver
Mhm.
flooring. Our competitors sell flooring, they deliver flooring. So there, we're all the same. Uh,
Yeah.
and they don't look and say, wow, what if we took delivery and we upped the game? What
Can
if
you
we
imagine,
changed the
right?
rules? Yeah.
Yeah. Can you
And
imagine?
particularly to the professional who is like a homeowner, maybe he's going to purchase, flooring once, twice in their life. A contractor is going to be purchasing it, one or more times a week. And so just the
Exactly.
ability to move that business over to you, because so many of the other things, the products, so many times, while the companies don't want to admit it, but basically a brick is a brick, and maybe an engineered wood floor is an engineered wood floor, and so you're looking, you're looking for points of difference, and one of the points of difference could be, well, if I buy from this dealer, I'm
Yeah.
I'm happier with their delivery service. And what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
Well, and let's think about it, right? I mean, we do a lot of paint as an example of a commodity in the construction industry. There's no painter that needs to see, you know, let me look at the can of white primer again for the millionth time. Let me check out your Benjamin Moore ceiling paint for the 900th time. They know exactly what products they want. They know exactly what trusted materials they use to do their work. So if you can take, the example that you talked about with Amazon, right? You're fully in charge and you see and you understand what is happening to that order, right? Combined with a level of certainty and relationship trust that's built on consistency and predictability. We are going to be there for your start of day tomorrow. At 8 o'clock when you arrive on site, your paint will be there. You no longer have to wake up an hour early, get over to the paint store, wait for them to mix it, put it in the truck, get to the job site. You just lost an hour, 2 hours, and that may be part of your day, right? But we think, for the more innovative contractor and professional, they're looking to save that hour. Let me take that hour and plan my next job. Let me quote on another few jobs while I'm waiting. Giving time back is becoming more and more critical to everybody, no matter what part or role you play in the business. So, we're really centered on, allowing contractors to be the most productive they can be. We talked earlier about, if you do run out of supplies, just the level of impact that that'll have on your ability to earn money and create value. And part of that is also in waiting for stuff to arrive on site. So if we can do that for you, if we can provide the consistency and the predictability, build that trust, build those arrangements, then all of a sudden you've got new capability that allows you to expand your business, we think. So we've had a lot of success with, Noble, we talked about Home Depot, but Sherwin-Williams, IHL, Saratech, almost anybody, can deliver stuff, but I think it's about the ability to work locally with the store managers, with the product owners, with the distributors. These are complex supply chains, and to understand how they work and navigate it and bring you the materials that you need. That's where we come in. So
Yes.
you just tell us what it is you need. You go online, you click, we get the order. When that order comes to us, we're already dispatching a truck. Typically, over time, as much as we have a lot of different drivers and you'll get used to your cohort of drivers. We study our drivers. We've got about 500 of them running around in kind of in Canada alone. And you start to see the patterns shaping, right? They see between 4 and 6 different merchants every day. They deliver to 10 to 12 people every day. And, once you kind of have I live here and these are the merchants, they kind of stick there and you start seeing. And so our merchants often tell us, they get familiar with their drivers just like they used to. The difference is on days when they're really busy and they need 3 or 4, all of a sudden 3 or 4 show up. It's not just
Right.
one guy who can only do 10. If for some reason it's spring and I need, 3, then there's 3 and the price doesn't change and the service gets done. And then customers come back and say, wow, it's like, it's always available. It's an endless well of water, and
Well,
we like to talk about that.
and it would seem to me also that no matter how good an in-house, I'll call it in-house delivery capability that you have, you still only have so many assets. So you may have 6 trucks and you may have 6 good drivers that show up every day. But there's those days where you don't need 6 trucks, but then there's maybe more troublesome days where you could use a 7th or 8th truck. And so you have to it seems to me, you've got to choose who you're going to disappoint. Who are you not going to, who are you going to not let down? Who are you going to let down? And, wouldn't it be great that you're known for, 99% of the time or whatever, not letting anybody down, that you, like you mentioned earlier, where GoFor on some cases fills in for companies. So it would seem like, gee, that does happen sometimes. Maybe I should learn about this GoFor now so that, when that's down, when that comes to me, I have the option right here. I can go instead of I go, gee, I wonder what we should do that we don't have enough trucks. Would seem
that is definitely the goal. Definitely the goal. We're really, really proud at our ability to flex and expand and contract our driver pool, right? So
yeah,
we offer a 3-hour service every day on demand.
Yes.
You put your order in at 10. I need to be there by 1. And we do this like 99, 98% of the time on time, day in, day out, every day. Spring peak, Christmas, doesn't matter. And then we ask our customers, will provide us a rating, right? And we give them the opportunity to give us a 5-star rating, and they come back and 4.8% of the 4.8 out of 5 stars is our average. And we think, and we're really proud that those metrics exist. We're on time and we're consistently meeting above expectations, and it doesn't really matter if it's Christmas or if it's spring or if it's fall, because we have this network of owner operators. We're able to bring to bear. If you look at Christmas, and we talked a little bit about e-commerce, for example, it was quite the e-commerce season this year with COVID and the environment and the lockdown. Certainly, we've all read in the paper just how hard it was for, the FedEx and the UPS of the world, and just the demands that were placed on them. But, over here at GoFor, we grew our business by 218% in December alone,
Wow.
which means we brought on 350 trucks just in 30 days.
Wow.
So, we look at that and we go, that's remarkable. How is that possible? And it's really possible through these independent owner operators that,
Yeah.
that we can reach out to and say, we have work, and they go, I'm on it,
Right.
and when you own 6 trucks, they're really great guys, and they're really great, those 6 trucks. But to your point, when you need 10, you still only have 6. And so, I think there's probably a transition period where, you have your 6, but when you need an extra, you can call on us. We can become part of your team. Or over time, you'll start seeing, well, unless you have certain volume, we can become your full team, and any combination in between. But for us, it's really about tailoring a solution that matches to your needs, getting to
Yeah.
know your business, and building those relationships that'll, support what it is you're trying to do. It's not
Well,
one size fits all.
no, not at all. But the other side of this, to me, is in addition to, let's say, providing, I don't know, the highest level of customer experience possible, if that's a Amazon level, FedEx level, 5-star, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah,
in
yeah.
addition to that part, normally you associate, well, if I'm going to improve something, then it's going to cost me more. Does that mean I have to get 2 more trucks to do that? And so one of the funny things, when I mentioned the building materials industry being 10 years behind, I see every year the CFO sits and looks for ways to, let's say, save money, spend
Yeah.
money better, right? And they're looking at things like marketing, or maybe we could have fewer salespeople, or maybe we could ship less often, or whatever, or require bigger orders or something, and I think that they, for as far as like down in that, like I'm mentally right now just thinking about like job site delivery, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
distributor to dealer, dealer to pro or homeowner customer. I think they look and say, oh man, we have this fleet of trucks. I hate this. We have this fleet of, I'm the financial guy, and I
Yeah,
hate
yeah.
this. Like I just look at the bills I pay every year. Okay. And I know they told me we have to have it. We have to have it. And so, but they don't step back and go, well, maybe there's another way.
Yeah.
And it's just because I'm sitting there thinking about and I'm horrible with finance. Okay. So let's just get that clear. But, you know, but, uh, but I do kind of look at it and go, geez, something. So when you have something, you have to, one, decide, am I going to buy it or lease it? And I have to maintain it, and I have to replace the tires and change the oil, and I have to buy insurance for it, and I have to find drivers, and the drivers have to show up, and they have to know what they're doing. They're representatives
Got
of
to
our
train them.
company, and
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there going, oh my God, when I think about somebody in a company is spending a lot of time uh, managing all this stuff. Okay, and I look at like, wow, if you looked at all of the money you're spending, all of the time you're spent managing this,
Mm-hmm.
and still not being able to deliver the level of service, the ultimate level of service that you should be able to, because you always have a cap on it. And it probably really hard for me to go to the CFO and say, hey, we need a 7th truck. That's what we need, right? And he's trying to get that truck that's about to fall apart to last one more year, before they get rid of it. And I don't know, what's been your experience there? It
Well,
just seems to me like, wow, what an area
well,
that people haven't looked at.
well, what a challenging situation to find yourself in, right? You said it before. Who do I disappoint? I've got 6 trucks. I need 8. What an awkward situation to be in, because as merchants and as business people, we don't want to disappoint anybody. In fact, our business is reliant on us not doing that. And then, make matters worse, so what do we say? Well, buy another truck, buy 4 more. Mark, just don't disappoint people anymore, okay? And then we step back and we say, well, hold on. Our job is to order material, stock our stores, pay attention to customers who are in front of us, keep the yard moving, endless amounts of things to run the business. Do we really want to talk about another driver who showed up sick? Do we really want to talk about the truck that needs the maintenance because the wheels and the thing and it's got nothing to do with me being successful. I want to sell stuff and I want to take care of people and get back to what I do best. I don't run a logistics company, right? And so we're constantly at odds. I need to figure out who I'm not going to let down today. I need to focus on my core business. How do I possibly contend with all this? And really, I think it's, I call it a leap of faith, but it's not much of a leap of faith when it's really an ability to supplement your existing experience, try something different, and really just start to understand how it works. We've got great in-market salespeople and great in-market logistics operators. I mean, their job is to work with you to explore what is it that you need and how do we best go about this. And we've seen a lot of different businesses now. We've handled a lot of different categories in from electrical to plumbing to HVAC, etc. And they all have a little bit of uniquenesses, but over time you start to build up your portfolio of experience. And I would say when it's all said and done, people that use us a lot start to say, why did I ever have those trucks? The driver pay alone is 50% of the cost of owning a truck is labor. And so that guy, while sometimes he's really busy, there's other times when he's not busy at all. And so then we're trying to figure out, well, what do we do with this guy? And we're paying him, but I have to pay him, otherwise he won't be here next week. We kind of understand all of that. And, the reality is when he's not with you, because you don't have volume this week, he's with another customer just like you, also getting paid. So the driver's always available. He's back to help you when and where you need. And, you get to pay for what you use when you use it at a fair, reasonable rate. And most customers, honestly, they don't talk to us a lot about pricing and cost, strangely enough. I mean, obviously it's important. We all have a metrics, and the CFO will come and ask you,
yes,
how can you make me more money? But strangely enough, it's a lot less about that. And it's a lot more about, can we not disappoint?
yes,
How do we expand
our utility and improve our experience with customers at these really high pressure times? And I think taking that monkey off their back of trying to run 4, 5, 6, 8 trucks and maintain them and losing that attention to what we do best, which is on the other side of the business, and saying, you know what, why don't I create the right partnership here? And they'll take care of all of that. We'll pay for exactly what we use, only when we use it. And we have a range, right? So some days I may need bigger trucks and some days I could use smaller trucks. And what we've seen with one of our biggest customers is Home Depot. And we started with the pro side of the business, and we need a certain vehicle, right? You need 30 sheets of drywall, you need a bunch of insulation, you need a bunch of 2x4s. Well, there's a certain vehicle, right? That represents what their orders look like. And over COVID, when things were locking down, they were closing their stores back in May 2020 for the first time. And we sat across the table and they said, so what are we going to do now? And we literally looked at each other and said, well, there's a will, there's a way. Let's figure this out. And so what happened was they said, can you do the e-commerce orders for our customers? Not just the pros, but maybe you could do the customers. And so then that became, yeah, absolutely. And so we started, we rolled out from 100 stores we were in with pros to the full 182 stores in Canada with the consumers and the pros. And now that relationship just keeps expanding, into box truck.
And you're expanding into the US too, right? You're in a number of markets in the US.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so now we're, the US counterparts have called us and said, we heard what you did in Canada, and customers seem to be pretty happy up there. We've tried a lot of, honestly, they tried a lot of vendors like us in the US, and, we're proud they called on us. We were partner of the year for supply chain in Canada.
Congratulations. Wow.
Yeah, it's
Right.
quite an award when someone that big puts that much trust in you and says thank you, right? So
That's
the
great.
U.S. guys called us, and now we're going to start a pilot down in Atlanta with them and traverse the same type of thing we did in Canada. There was people before us, though, and it's just interesting to look. I think there's a way to do this right, and there's a way to
Yes.
treat a customer, and there's a way to
Yes.
treat a driver that you have to do the right thing, right?
Yeah.
It's not always about making money. It's about what do people need and how do you create those relationships and how do we treat you, with the respect and the qualities that and the services that you need, not what everybody needs, what you need. And I think we've gotten really good at working with large and small companies as a result. I think people give us a lot of time and investment into us because we put a lot of time and investment into them. So it's about where there's a will, there's a way. If there's a
Yes.
will, if there's a will to not run a fleet and to have happy customers, we think we have something to say about it. We think we can help you do something with it, and we'd love to continue to talk about our program. And
Yeah. Well, I
I
think
think
that
it's
I was going to say one of the things you hit upon earlier, I think is a real key here is,
hmm,
what is your core business, right? Your core business is almost for, anybody in building materials is they're never going to say it's logistics. Okay. Their core business is, I make masonry products, I distribute, I sell, I deliver, whatever.
yeah.
But that's their core business is the product and their knowledge and expertise to match that up with the right project and the right customer, and then they want to get it there. And they don't have an R&D team devoted to improving logistics for delivering insulation the way they have an R&D team devoted to making better insulation. And so it kind of just
Exactly.
sits there flat and doesn't improve, where the core parts of your business you're always improving and challenging and testing. What
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
somebody is there anything that comes to mind that if you were thinking about, let's say, the hidden costs, once again, the true costs of operating your own fleet, or whether it's one truck or 50 or whatever, I think about the truck itself. I think about I got to have a place to securely store it at night. I think about
Yeah.
insurance. I think about drivers, maintenance, those kinds of things. And then, what if it's in an accident? And just a lot of those things come up. And then I think the thing that always is not counted is even, let's say, negotiating to buy a truck. Okay, well, somebody from your company
Mm.
had to take X period of their time to
Yeah.
investigate how much should I pay, what features should I get, and those costs are not often put on there. And yet everybody that works for companies today is understaffed and overworked. And so is that their core importance, is buying trucks, and maintaining them, or that's kind of a
Hmm.
side job they have, and so are there any things that come up that you think about that are costs that people maybe don't think
I
about?
think I think you rhymed them off pretty well, Mark. The big ones, but I will say this in what you were describing. When it's not your core, how do you solve the problem? You throw money at it. I
Right.
don't want to pay attention to that. You know
Yeah.
what? Just somebody take care of it. It's
Right.
just a means to an end. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity in those discussions. There's waste, but some of the cost elements, vacation coverage, sick day, right? So you got two trucks, one guy calls in sick, and all of a sudden you're left in a lurch.
Yes.
There's
Right.
not much you can do that. It's
Yeah.
it's the summer and half your guys are requesting vacation at the same time, and you're like, no, you can't this year, and you're all of a
No.
sudden you're into these personnel problems. And I think that's
Yeah.
definitely
Like
something to be considered. It's
yeah.
to your point, when it's not your core, you don't want to be left running a whole other type of business.
Right.
You probably won't do it as well. You probably will throw a little bit more money on it just to make the problem go away, and it becomes really just kind of distracting at some level.
Well, it's also, yeah, I agree with you. And I was just laughing as you were talking. I was thinking about hunting season in Michigan or, in
Yeah,
Wisconsin. Like there's certain places where, no, nobody's coming to work today. And,
exactly.
so what do you do on those days? That's interesting. So I think this is, I've enjoyed our conversation and learning more because I'm always trying to like look at what are things people aren't paying attention to. It's easy to
Yeah.
go, okay, here's 5 ways to have a better building material website. Okay, everybody's interested in that. Everybody's they're thinking about that. But they're, from what I can see, not thinking, they're thinking that delivery is just this static thing. You have to have it, we have it, we do okay, that's good enough. And so
Right.
both from a customer experience, when I think about, um, I don't know, to me, I would be one that would, if I did something like work with GoFor to improve my delivery service, well, I would go and let all our customers know, okay,
Mm,
that we're doing this, okay. So all of a sudden, they just have to have one bad experience with your competitor, and they'll go, "I'll bet that wouldn't have happened with Joe's Flooring because Joe's Flooring told me, they're using GoFor, and so they
yeah.
have extra capacity." And and I think, and then the other aspect is we keep talking about it, but it's just this idea of it's not your core competency, and so many other things we think about in business. When houses were built in the past, that the carpenter would build your windows on the job site. The carpenter would build
Hmm,
your kitchen cabinets.
yeah.
Well, now the carpenter maybe does the framing, maybe does some bookshelves or something, but the cabinets are made in a factory, the windows are made in a
Exactly.
factory. And they didn't lose, the quality got better, the innovation got
Yeah.
better, and you got the, let's say, products at varying price points depending on your need. And so houses are built faster for less money today because of that. And so this may be one of those areas where it's, the building materials industry will start to look at, gee, is this something we're hanging on to, or not realizing that we have options.
Well, I got to tell your audience, I mean, we GoFor has been pretty lucky in what we do, and delivery is really on the rise. We had
Yeah.
over 1,000% growth last year alone, and
Wow.
I
Wow.
think it has a lot to do with obviously the environment, but it has a lot to do with people looking for those next opportunities, right? And
Yeah.
finding the right partner who can pull it off, right?
Yeah.
We hear like, why haven't we done this earlier? We could have never scaled like this.
Right.
And I think as the world continues to move forward, online shopping and online
Yes.
commerce is no longer just for t-shirts and pants and all of those wonderful things.
Right.
It's for business. It's for
Yeah.
business, and there's business utility, and we're taking technology and wrapping it around the building materials industry. The building material industry is fragmented. It's built on personal relationships over time, forged for many decades in some examples. And we know how hard it is to change, but we also know, as you pointed out, when we look back at 2021, 5 years from now, this will soon be, yeah, remember that? We used to have our own trucks. That was quite strange. And the pace at which we're growing and the pace at which our customers want us to participate in their supply chain has never been stronger. You know, January, you're getting ready for spring, and just the amount of conversations and the expectations that are coming
Yeah.
towards us right now suggest this isn't just something we've been dabbling in. This is something where we think there's a lot of demand behind the scenes. And once people start to understand it and explore it and test it, they go, "Oh wow, wow, that's different, and that's going to better my business." And
Right.
we hope some of your listeners today will think about that. And we would love to have a conversation with them to explore what it means to them, right?
Yeah. So
And
is the best way just go for delivers.com to go to your website?
GoForDelivers.com. Yeah.
Okay.
Visit us
And
there, ask us questions. Yeah.
okay. Now the other one, I hope Chris is okay with this, but I would tell you to, if you're interested in logistics and this whole subject, is to follow Chris on LinkedIn or even
Yep.
connect with him. He puts out some really good content, that's not like, a series of commercials for GoFor. It really is thoughtful things about rethinking how, logistics are handled. And I'm reminded of how, in my own personal life, my wife and I forever had two cars, and
Hmm.
now that we live in Boulder in Colorado, we have one car, and I find, like, that we don't need two cars. I can walk to the grocery store, I can get an Uber, there's free buses, there's just, it's like, why do I need this, all those other expenses and the hassle of having a second car? And I think,
Absolutely.
it's once again in our personal life we're seeing things. But I do have to ask you one thing here, Chris. So now I've always admired, you guys have the greatest swag, and I've been after you guys about, like, sending me a t-shirt or ball cap because I love your logo and I love that. But I do have a question for you. So
Okay.
I gotta go now to the sock cam. See, so now this is
Oh,
this is my Zoom call sock cam that I have here. See, and I'm quite
I
into
love it.
socks. So I hope one day that you'll add some GoFor Delivers socks to your to your swag there.
That is a great idea. I love that. Nice big woolly socks with the GoFor logo on it.
Yeah,
Got my vote, Mark. Absolutely. And we've
especially.
got to get you one of our new toques. So yeah, we'll be
Oh,
sure
oh
to do
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's funny. I saw another company that sells an adhesive was saying, "We'll send you a free toque," and I put in there, "What's
What's a
what's a
toque?
toque?" Right? Because, like, I thought it was something like an apron or something a chef would wear, and then I typed in, definition of toque, and it comes back. It sounded like a little hat that little girls wear, and I go, "What? You're talking to a contractor about a free toque? What?" So it's one of those little Canadian
It's a
U.S.
Canadian thing. Yeah.
Understanding of things. But this has been really great. I appreciate your time, and once again, I think we've hopefully given my listeners something to think about in this area of logistics, where they probably hasn't even been on their radar screen. And so hopefully with
Beautiful.
things like GoFor, they'll be able to say, maybe we can do it differently, more productively, and better customer experience.
Awesome. It was great talking to you,
Yes,
and I'm hoping some of them are thinking about this. And like you said, LinkedIn, Chris Jarvis,
yes,
hit me up, talk to me, ask me questions. We'll be happy to help you. GoForDelivers.com. And
great.
yeah, it's been a great pleasure, Mark. Really
All
good
right.
spending time with you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Chris. Have a great day.